Hey there. Welcome to Supercharged Fridays. My name is Sonal, your friendly neighborhood career strategist. We get together every single month. No, every single week. This is live. So you know it's live because I'm not editing anything. We've been live every single Friday since January. So this is 9 months, guys. 9 months, we're going strong. So wonderful community. If you're new here, come in and say hi in the comments. Tell us where you are. Tell us what time it is. Even if I know where you are. Good evening, Maruti. I'm guessing it's evening for you. We have a juicy little topic. We're going to get started right away. And before I do that, obviously, I want to take a few seconds and just have everyone come in, do a little chit chat for just a few seconds till we have a few more people in, because I don't want to, take up a lot of your time. I know that time is the biggest currency these days. So super grateful that you've decided to join us. Hi, Ramesh, Sahil. I hope everyone is well. So we're going to talk about something that is an art. A lot of people will say it's a science. I really think it's an art. It's one of those things that you practice a lot and it gets better with time. So the art of asking great questions, right? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Lovely to see you guys, some of the regulars here. I recognize your name, Hari Babu. How are you? Books is a new name here. Hi, Books from the Middle East. Kiasha, my new friend, how are you? Risto, my old friend, how are you? Perfect, Supercharged Fridays, I love it. So let's talk about questions. Um, I want this to be as interactive as possible and as much fun as possible. So I have a few notes that I've prepared, but I'd also love for you guys to pitch in and give your 2 cents worth. Just because I'm talking about this doesn't mean I know this more than you do. Hi, new face. LinkedIn user, I'm so sorry it doesn't say your name, but hope you guys are well. So the thing is, get your pen, get your paper, let's take notes together. I've put some things down. And at the same time, I want you guys to come in. And somebody here who's very actively looking for a job, I want to say this, and I'm going to say this again later in case somebody joins in later. I have a little surprise. If we have time towards the end, I have a little surprise, and I'll tell you the surprise. You'll have to hang on a little bit for the surprise, so hang on till then. But before I get started, I do want to say something. We're what? 2 minutes? How long have we been in? 2 minutes or something like that. Nice, lovely faces. Hi, Thais. How are you? Lovely to see you. Can you please tell me, I'm trying out a new camera and I didn't get a chance to, do a little of my own testing. If you can, I know you can see me, but can you also let me know if you can hear me properly? Because I used to have issues with it and now it's been fixed. Hey, I know this face. How are you? Just let me know, please. You can give me a quick thumbs up that you can hear me very clearly as well. Yeah, I speak in Kleinbeach and Netherlands because I'm thinking your name is Dutch. That's why I knew your name spelling looks. Hi, Rajiv. Lovely to see you. Wonderful. So just give me a little thumbs up that you can hear me properly, that the audio is okay. Yes. Okay. Because I know there's a little delay. You may have written that already. So perfect. Let's get started. Before I do, thank you, Maruti. A few thumbs up would be really helpful. Thumbs up, heart emojis. Why is that? Am I an egomaniac that I need your validation to be worthy? Not really. It's more so that the algorithm here gets this rocket fuel and more people get to know about it and more people join in, right? The more the merrier. Why on earth not? Perfect. So let's talk about questions. What we're going to be talking about today is 3 things. The first is we're going to look at the principles behind asking great questions. It's all, stuff that I've put together. I'm sure none of it is rocket science. Then we're going to be looking at common mistakes, pitfalls, mistakes that a lot of us make, including myself, when it comes to asking good questions. And finally, I have a list of about 10 questions that I've made for you that we can go through very quickly. That's towards the end of the little presentation we have. Perfect. So let's get started. I'd love for you to, and in case you've just joined us, there's a little surprise. if you hang on, and I'll give you a hint. Maybe I should give you a hint. And the surprise is, it's not a hint. It's actually, I'm telling you what it is. I'd love for someone who's actively looking for a job, right? I'd love for you to say, this was a session, this was useful, and I'd love for you to come on camera with me, like today. Yeah, and we're going to practice together, and you're going to ask me questions, and we're going to see, based on the principles we look at today, little theory, little bit of practice, and then put it and implement it, right? So why on earth would we not do that? So if you're keen, I'm going to just pick a name in the end. If you're not keen, you're scared, the camera's not right, or you don't have your phone with you, or whatever, the lighting, the mess behind you, I don't care. Nobody cares what you look like. What we care about is your courage and showing up. So if you want to do that, let me know in the comments. I'll select one person, and then I'll send you the link to join me live. I haven't done this before. Maybe I did this once. It was a lot of fun. It was very impromptu. So perfect. Let's get started. Okay. Why ask questions? Why do we ask questions? Now, let's say there's an important meeting, like an interview, or any meeting for that matter, at work. Why do we ask questions? I know there's a normal, standard answer, but I'd like you to think about it nevertheless, the why behind asking questions. Somebody's actively looking for a job, but I don't know what your name is. And it looks like we have a bot here. It happens once in a while. So actively looking for a job. So, okay, answer in the meantime, please, because I'm waiting for you. I know there's a delay, but why do we ask questions in important meetings? Why is that? Before I get started, I just want to know that you're paying attention. You're wide awake. Whoa, wake up, let's go. Hi, Mahesh, perfect. So why do we do that? Why do we ask questions at all? I know that somebody said they're interested and actively looking for a job, but I want to see what your name is. Hi, Melissa, I didn't see your name. Are you the mysterious? Could you be the mysterious one that said actively looking for a job? I'll figure that out. Anyway, perfect. So let me know. Let me know why we ask questions. There is a standard superficial answer that we all know to that, and then there is another answer to that. And maybe somebody who's a coach will go deeper into the other aspect of the job. Dice, you're looking for a job. Excellent. I mean, it's excellent in the sense that we can have a conversation about that. Venkat as well. Okay, good. If we have enough time, why don't we have both of you on air? Oh, I missed a few comments. Great. So yes, we ask questions because I love this. Okay, you're seeking clarification, or a confirmation of your understanding. And I love that you said that, because that's a very common mistake, and it's a pitfall where we listen and then on the other side, where somebody asked a question and then we immediately want to give an answer to that question. But what if the question was something else, X, and you were answering Y? That's embarrassing, and that's happened. To show interest. Yes, it's a little bit beyond the Sanjay, perfect. Yeah, so we ask questions to show interest. Somebody said to clarify and to make sure we're on the same page. Leads the conversation. Yes, okay. You guys are smart. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to take a sip. I hope you've got your tea, coffee. I've got my chai. Cheers. Okay, we have a pretty smart bunch of people here. So I think my work is done. I'm going to go. Bye. Another great answer. It's a two-way process. Yes. So we ask questions, particularly in an interview scenario, to show curiosity, because somebody said, right, you want to know something. Or even think about it when you're a kid. When we're younger, I think we ask questions because we're curious. When we are older, I think if you measure that ratio, we're still curious, but we also want to show the other person confidence in us. And the objective of asking those questions is not to bring the attention to us. It's to bring the attention away. And I know that sounds contradictory, because you want to show confidence in you. But I have felt this, and you can confirm this or deny it. Ice breaking, that's a great point as well. And that's what politicians do as well. Yeah, politicians also tend to deflect, Maruti. I think that's the other thing. They don't necessarily answer, and they go in all different directions based on the narrative. But I'm asking you a question. I want to show you how smart I am. Okay, I am. Those who are regular here, I call a spade a spade. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to show you how smart I am. See, when I asked you this question, why do we ask this question? Okay, go back 2 minutes. Just rewind when I asked you, why ask questions? Didn't it make you think? And it completely drew the attention away from me. I don't want attention on me. I want the attention on you guys. So when you're in an interview, you want to ask a question that makes the other person go, It's almost like they've forgotten about you, but at the same time, you're in front of them and they're getting this confidence that this person is smart. That's what we want, guys. We want people to think we're smart because we are. I don't think there's any doubt to that. Yeah, we do want to show our enthusiasm and curiosity, and absolutely love it. Great answers, fabulous. So that's why we ask questions. I'm going to go into the principles now on asking questions, and get your pen and paper ready because I was feeling a little lazy today, so I didn't do a PowerPoint presentation, which I usually do. Today, it's just me and my little banner notes here. What are the principles? I have an approach called the BOTE approach. Now, BOTE makes absolutely no sense because it's not a word. At the same time, those who are regular here know that I have a bit of a, what is the word? Fetish, like obsession with acronyms. So this is an acronym. My first principle is not my principle. It is my principle. No, it's not my principle. It's something that I heard a lady speak about in a conference. And her name is Amy Edmondson. She's an organizational behavior professor at Harvard Business School. And she talked about this, particularly when you are in an important meeting, even if you're not in a job interview. Try to go broad first when you ask that question, and then go in for the kill. Okay, what does that mean? Then you go deeper into that question, then you dig, as opposed to just digging immediately deeper into it. And we will take examples, don't worry, and I've got you covered. First, go broad, paint a little picture, and then try to go deep, right? Any questions about that? Hi, Ingrid, lovely to see you, my Canadian friend. I hope you're well. So wonderful. So that's the first principle. Then, this is another one, which is very interesting, and I only learned this recently. When I say recently, we all know what is open-ended versus closed-ended questions, but we don't realize how often the questions we ask are actually closed-ended questions. And here, I'd like you to pay attention. It's very common to ask questions where you start with have, do, why. Why is that? It tends to be that the answer is shorter. Yeah, monosyllable answer, as opposed to open-ended. What we want is open-ended questions. Okay, why? What is the objective? Remember, we said at the beginning, what is the objective? The objective of asking a great question is to draw the attention away from us, make the other person talk as much as possible. And I'll come to it, and remind me if I don't come to it, but I'll come to it and I'll tell you why make the other person talk as much as possible. And at the same time, when they're talking, they're looking at you. Yeah, they have to. At some point or the other, they have eye contact, and then they have confidence in you, right? So open-ended means you're making the other person talk more, and stick to questions that begin with how, what, has, have, for example, no, not have, sorry, has, where. So these are more questions that tend to be very open, and they can actually go, the answer can actually go in any direction whatsoever. Any questions? This is a closed-ended question because we're otherwise going to be here forever. Any questions? Yes, no? Open questions are very broad, exactly. And that's one of the principles as well, based on what we're talking about. So that's the second principle. The third principle is, you want to think of the interview as a tennis match. And I think somebody already said that, which means that, think of the old scenario and think of the new scenario. In the classical old scenario, it would be that there would be this questions, You are the job seeker or the job candidate, and you're like you're giving your answers, and then at the end the interviewer says, do you have any questions for me? And you say, yes, actually I do. And then you have a list, and you've made like a list of 2 questions or 5 questions or whatever, and then you ask them, and then you're like, okay, this is it, this is my turn to shine, and that's what I'm going to do. I call this the old scenario. Why? I don't like it. It's not an equitable distribution. When I said make the other person talk as much as possible, that's not going to happen if you're going to be the one answering the whole time. I know the interview is about you and whether you're suitable for the job, but please understand one thing. If you're already at the interview, the person already thinks you can do the job. They already think you can do the job. And by asking you something, they're not necessarily listening very carefully into every single word of your answer. They're more looking at the nonverbal, right? And the nonverbal communication in terms of your body language, your eye contact, your intonation, all of that stuff. Why? Because they want confidence that they made the right decision by calling you there today. So it's more about that. Isn't that interesting? So it's more like you're giving them confidence that you're the best person for the job. So it's not really about you in that sense. And then, when people at the end, anybody who's interviewed before, when somebody makes a decision, what did you think of these people? I got a very good feeling about this one. I didn't get a good feeling. It's about them. You see what I mean? It's not even so much about you. So, and I'm going to explain to you what is the meaning of a tennis match. Excuse me. You want a meeting where it's like ask, answer, listen to the answer. Oh, I see. It's like this one time when I went, acknowledge the answer, ask, answer, ask, answer. So it's a tennis match. So it's really like a two-way street. And somebody already said this in the comments. I think that was Kiasha. So that's what you want. You want it to feel like a natural conversation. And I'm going to say something that a lot of people disagree with, particularly in a global recession. Yeah. It's a two-way street. The interview is a two-way street. You are interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you. And many people say, what nonsense. Yeah, this is not a time to cherry pick jobs. And you're lucky that they called you for an interview. No, that's a scarcity mindset that tells you that there are not enough jobs out there. So please go and impress them. They have the power. They have the upper hand because they have the job and you don't. I don't agree. Okay. Anyone here who's ever done recruitment will agree with me, I hope, that good people, like really good people, are hard to find. Okay. So if you're good and you're standing out and you're talented, I would say it's even. I will not say one is better than the other. It's even. And you want that sort of relationship with equals, right? So that's what I mean by a tennis match. I'm just going to jump into the comments because I feel like I missed a few things. Good question. I think think of it this way, Rishik. Ask yourself a question. When you start a question with have you ever done this before? I think it's closed-ended because the answer will be yes or no. So I think I said has by mistake in the open-ended. It doesn't belong in the open-ended. Yeah, absolutely. Get into the comfort zone, break some ice a little bit. Clarity, absolutely. Yeah, excellent. So let's continue with the other principles. Remember we said BOTE. So the B stands for first go broad, then go deep. O stands for open-ended versus closed-ended. T stands for tennis matches. And E, this is not my principle. This belongs to a very famous guy called Dale Carnegie. If you haven't read it, it's the 1936 classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's as relevant today as it was 1936. Oh gosh, I'm just showing you how weak I am in maths. 1936, 84 years ago. I think that's what it is. I'm not going to think too much about that. If I have said something wrong, somebody, a smart aleck here can correct my math. Ask questions that the other person would enjoy answering. Now, I'd love for you to put this in the comments. I want you to put your thinking hat on. If you're hungry, go get something to eat, get a quick sandwich, get a tea, and get your pen and paper. I don't know how many hands you have. I clearly think you have like 5 hands. Write down in the comments, what is the best question that you've ever been asked? And you're going to see, when you think about this, you're going to see these principles in that question. And then think about, why was that the best question you have ever been asked? Chances are you enjoyed answering it. It took you to a time or a place where it's something you like, you enjoy it. So that's what we want. Okay. That's the Dale Carnegie principle. It's not mine. And finally, I also want to say the 5th one, which I didn't write, but I remember it today. I think maybe I did write it. Brevity. Brevity. What does that mean? Brief. Keep the question brief. Okay. Some people get verbal diarrhea. It's a horrible visual. I'm sorry I did that. But have you guys noticed this? If you are watching 2 people in an interview, like a journalism and the press, an interview, or in a podcast, the person who asks the question sometimes takes 3 minutes to finish their question. They ask the question, then they paraphrase it, and then they say, they give examples. And by the time they come to the question mark, which means by the time they shut up, you're like looking at your watch, it's been at least 180 seconds, if not 240 seconds, which is not what you want. Because why we said this question thing is not about you. Do not draw attention to you. Give attention to them. So ask questions that you are practicing at home and you've kept them short. Short, sweet, simple. So these are the principles that I am going to stop here for a second. And now let's talk about the pitfalls. What are the mistakes people make? And before I do that, just want to see what is the chatter going on in the comments if I missed something. Yeah, I used to think the same thing as well. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that, okay, this is actually not what I was expecting you to write. I thought you'll say 80% the candidate speaks and 20% the interview. I think it should be 50-50. But you know what, Kyasha, it's a very dangerous question. And I want to give you a disclaimer. So thank you for reminding me. You ask 10 people on how to reach from A to B, you'll get 10 different directions to do that. Okay. So if you ask me, I think it should be 50-50. Why? Tennis match. That's my opinion. Somebody who's out there who's a career coach could completely disagree with me and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Do what works for you. Okay. And if that works for you, then do more of it. That would be my suggestion. Sounds good? Lovely to see you, Akhil. How are you? Perfect. So, for example, how's this organization been treating you? It's a good question, but I have a different way to verbalize it. Maruti, I'll come there and I'll explain it to you. But you just want to practice these things at home and maybe ask a friend or a parent or a family member, because you don't want questions that come across as a bit too pointed. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. How have they been treating you? I would ask this to a friend, yeah, because I know there's something coming up. But with somebody who's a complete stranger, but I like the question, but I'll tell you how I can paraphrase that. Absolutely. Get them to talk, man. Get them to talk. It's the oldest trick. I know trick sounds like a bad word. It's almost like you're manipulating them, but it's the oldest trick in the book. We love to talk about ourselves. We can't help it. We just like, and there's a quotation. It's a beautiful quote. I'm going to read it out to you. It's one of the best compliments anyone can ever give you is ask you for your opinion. Because suddenly the attention, they're focused on you. So Sonal, what do you think about this? When somebody asks you a question, don't you feel important? Particularly if they're asking you and there is no screen present and they're not like asking you and at the same time looking at somebody, somebody's really focused on you. What do you think about it? It's a lovely feeling. You feel important. And there's I'm going to find that quote. It's in my previous post, so I don't want to like get distracted, but it's the best feeling in the world. And you're like, yeah, thank you. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. The greatest compliment that was ever paid to me was when someone asked me what I thought. And then they attended to my answer. This is Henry David Thoreau. So I love that. Some laughter going on. It's great. It's Friday. So I don't know what they're laughing about. Probably something silly that I said. I've never been asked this. Aha, I love that you're sharing this, Ingrid. What makes your eyes light up and bring joy to your heart? I'm reaching the soul a bit deep, and I know that's amazing. Yeah, it depends on the job. And in some kind of jobs, you want to go deeper. You want to go below the surface. So absolutely. I'm going to come to this. Beautiful. You're one step ahead of me. So we're done with the principles. Hopefully no questions. Remember, in case you're just joining us, we have a little surprise towards the end where whoever's interested is, let's come live with me on camera once I'm done with my blah, blah, and then let's practice together. Perfect. So this was let's talk about the pitfalls. What are the common mistakes that people make when they ask questions? The first one is really obvious. They ask premature questions, okay? Don't ever do that. For example, you're in a job interview and you want to ask things like, so what is the salary of this position? When do I start? What are the holidays? What is the policy on vacations? Don't ask stuff like that. It's too early. It's too soon, guys. It's too soon. Okay, I know this goes without saying, but honestly, I see this happen very frequently, and it's not. They haven't necessarily gone ahead and confirmed that they want you for the job. So don't do that. Yeah, I would say it's both. Good point, Risto. That's the first one, asking premature questions. The second mistake goes without saying, not asking questions. Someone says, so would you have any questions for me? If they have said that, that means you were quiet the whole time. This means they're not really sure you're motivated. They're not really sure you were paying attention because you didn't ask questions. So please don't make that mistake, because you think on the other, on your side, what you're thinking is, oh no, I'm good, all good, thank you. By saying that, you're thinking that it's done, it's over with, I can't wait to get the heck out of here. Yeah, that's what the other person thinks. Or you want to, somebody told me this once. No, I was really mindful of the time because the interviewer was giving me the impression that they have to leave. So by saying no, I was getting out of their way. No, man. The Indian accent. No, man. This is your time. And do it. If you haven't been playing the tennis match and if you haven't been asking questions from the very beginning, take this opportunity and ask questions. I have a little trick here that I suggest you do. I don't know. I didn't write this down. I'm all over the place today. And I heard this on a podcast with a great guy who's actually supposed to come on Supercharged Fridays, but he's a barrister, and I'm going to tell him to watch this. He's got a court case. Otherwise, he was supposed to come next Friday. He said that he had a guest on his show who said, when you begin the interview, take charge. I kind of agree with it, but I like where he's going. When you begin the interview and they are going to ask you something, you immediately introduce yourself and say, actually, I also, based on my research, I have a few questions already jotted, so I'd love to get to them when we get the chance. So the person on the other side, there's two things they can say. They can say, oh, yeah, you already have some questions. Let's go. Have at it. Let's go. Or they'll be like, okay, when we get there, we'll ask you. But by doing that, if they bite, okay, there's a risk. If they bite, actually, no, there is no risk. If they say yes, you have immediately taken control. And control is nice. It's good to feel that you're in the driver's seat and this is the passenger. And sometimes you stop, then they get into the driver's seat and you're the passenger. Remember, tennis match, different analogies. So by not asking questions, you're completely in the passenger seat. You're at the back. You're looking outside the window. You are totally zapped out. You're disengaged. You're not attractive as a candidate. You're not going to get a call back. I don't want to sound discouraging, but you want to stand out and be that person that says intelligent things at the right time. So Perfect. I'm going to check your name out. I think you're Melissa. I'm not sure. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, cool. So not asking questions is, according to me, a very bad idea. And the third one is sticking to a script, right? What this means is, some coaches or some books have told you, ask this, and then you only stick to that script. Boring. Start coloring a little outside the lines, be a little rebel, ask different questions. And I've got some of those questions written down. Don't be a vanilla. Don't be beige. Stand out. Don't blend in. If that makes any sense. I love humor books. I use it regularly with, you have to have, in English, you say read the room. So read the room. If you think it's going well and you can afford to crack a very light-hearted, politically correct, harmless little joke, do it. Usually nothing bad comes out of it. And if you see they're not biting, they're not smiling, leave it. They're a little too wooden for you, doesn't matter. Maybe somebody else is going to enjoy that, doesn't matter. Yeah, I love analogies, analogy freak. So sticking to a script, avoid that if you can. And then number 4, don't ask stupid stuff. Sorry, my kids, I always tell them not to use the word stupid. It's rude. But don't ask stuff that can easily be searched on Google. So that's why when you're in your homework stage and you're doing your research, Kiasha, you mentioned research, take your time and just see that the stuff you want to ask has not been asked before. And it's not obviously searchable, right? And the 5th one, I think, Kiasha, you said this, or somebody else said this in my post yesterday. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they ask, but they don't really listen to the answer. They have a list in front of them and they're so keen to impress. Then they're like, okay, next question, pounce. Next question, pounce. Did you hear what the guy said? Were you listening to that woman? Because if you were, you would have a follow-up question. If you don't have a follow-up question, you weren't really listening. Or at least acknowledge it, saying, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I can't stand it when there's an interview going on. Even like, you guys listen to a podcast, somebody asks a question and the other person gives this amazing answer, which is what we want. The person says, what a great question. And then they give this amazing answer. And the person who asked it moves to the next question. This is what my Italian friends would say. Pay attention to that answer, listen to them, acknowledge it, take the time. So not doing that is almost like, according to me, like a crime. So, yeah, I did bring this up in my, I thought it was in my principles, but it's here in the pitfalls. Long-winded question. Remember I said taking 3 to 4 minutes to ask a question? Don't do that. So if you have a question, ask immediately and then shut up. Short answer, shut up. Question mark. Quiet. Zip it. Get them to talk more. And then we're done. And now we're going to come to the questions that I have in mind. I'm going to check some of your analogies. Good books on this. My friend Risto will tell you a good book on it because he's a book freak. Risto, I hope you're here. You've got always good ideas on books. Right now, it's not coming to mind. Not necessarily coming to mind. Hey, Lee, how are you? Yeah, exactly. That's what we said in the beginning. It's a two-way street. It's a tennis match. That's what we said. So you're interviewing them, even though a lot of people don't believe it because they think, no, it's a pandemic and it's a recession. And what you're saying is really luxurious. Not really. No. How long has the position been open? Do you think, Eric, you can find this out on Google? I think you can. You have a very limited chance to make a fabulous impression, so choose wisely. Choose wisely. Like that, what movie is that? Is that Indiana Jones? And he has this 2 cups. You have chosen wisely. You have chosen poorly. So think about that really, really hard. Hi, Meenakshi. I see. Okay, that was you. Perfect. Thank you for mentioning. Listening is so key. And more than listening, it's active listening, right? So which is what I had said in the mistakes, which is, are you asking to respond or are you asking to understand? Actually, listen is the wrong word. Are you asking to respond or are you asking to understand? Yeah. So definitely, it's very poor very poor manners. It's very poor. It's very unattractive in a candidate if they're not really listening. Another perspective that they seek out is the real value you bring to the table. So be ready with your thoughts. Yeah, sure. That's in a classical interview scenario, but here I want you to be thinking, I'm the one asking questions. So I'm going to ask really, good questions that make the other person go, that's a great question. When the person is rushed, doesn't matter. I have done that. I'm like, yes, I do have a few questions. How much time do we have? Maybe that's something that it's something that you can ask. And actually, I don't know if that's you, but do that, so that you're also setting expectations properly. And honestly, I don't like it when an interviewer is in a rush, because this is very important for the job seeker. So if a person has given you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, at the same time, it's very rare. I haven't seen it personally where an interviewer briefly cuts the interview short because they say, I have to go now, sorry. Let it run its course. I'm not saying that you sit there for 3 hours. They're not going to sit there for 3 hours with you. Time is precious. But nevertheless, yeah. Which one? I don't remember, Lee, which one you're talking about, but probably everybody else does. Lost you there. You're welcome, Shivam. Yeah, absolutely. So have you ever been asked, what should I expect as an employee? That's a good question, but I'll help you frame it a little bit better. I know where you're going and I like where you're going, Ingrid. And as much as you're marketing yourself, yeah, it is always a two-way street. I've always said that, and it couldn't be more true. You learn a lot. Absolutely, books, it goes without saying. Okay, somebody asked about books, books and books, perspective shifting questions, reflective questions. You know what? Whoever asked this question, give me if it doesn't come to me right now, but definitely I will think about it and put the questions down in the comments. Let me see. I have a book. Hold on, just one sec. This is a good book. It's a little old. It's a bit rusty, so it may not necessarily feel with the times, but it's not a bad book. It's Martin John Yates. I read it long time ago when I was in the middle of a recession and I was finishing my MBA. And this helped me to crack a few interview questions. And also after that, when I was laid off and I had to when I had to look for work again. It's a little old, and when I say old in the sense that some of it may not necessarily correspond to 2020, but I still think it's worth the effort. It's a classical interview question book, but the questions on the other side, it has a decent collection of them as well. Perfect. Lots of interesting chatter. What is your leadership style? Yes, it's a good question. I asked this. I have this question as well. You can frame it in a different way. Now let's go ahead. Now I have 10 questions for you guys. So I know there's lots of eagerness, lots of curiosity. Let's get going. I have 10 questions for you that you can ask the interviewer. And I call this the CPR approach, like CPR, like that. I mean, someone's, out of breath. But here the CPR stands for C is company, P is position, and R is recruiter or the interviewer. I like R because it's CPR. It's easy to remember. Should we get going? Yeah? Okay, give me a sec. Okay. And think of everything that I've shared so far in terms of principles, because they're going to be these questions are going to be corresponding to some of the principles. How do you think this company is different from its competition? Think about it. People ask you all the time, why should we hire you? Why do they ask that? They want to know how you're different from the other candidates. This is the exact same question, but you turn the tables. You turn the tables and you make it about them. Maybe you know the answer, maybe you've done your homework, but you want to hear from the person who's on the other side of the table. So take these questions, take them with a pinch of salt. Please repeat after me. Take them with a pinch of salt. know your own personality, and then twist them or whatever, have your own version of these questions. Okay. Because I don't want you to ask something where you're not comfortable. Please don't do that. If it comes like this, comes very naturally to me, so I would ask this. But there's no like one size fits all, right? It goes without saying. But I personally like this question. When I've been asked this question, it makes me think a little bit. Remember, we said ask questions that the other person would enjoy answering. The Dale Carnegie principle. Perfect. So then the next one is, you see where I'm going with this? People ask you, where do you see yourself in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Twist it around, make it about them. Where do you see the company going in the next 2, 3 years, 5 years? This is not always information that's available in their annual report. Not always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Usually it's very short-term oriented. But you can ask this question and focus it more on their future plans. Yeah, what do they want to do? Hence, this is, C and C. Now let's come to P, position. Who are the main stakeholders of this position? Now be careful with this question, because it's highly possible that the stakeholders of the position are mentioned in the job description. In a good job description, they should be mentioned, but sometimes it's possible they're not mentioned. If they're not, then please go ahead, by all means, ask this question. Who are the main stakeholders of this position? Remember, we talked about the first principle in the BOTE. We said broad and then deep. So this is an example of that. Go broader. Who are the main stakeholders of this position? Now, go for the kill. Go deeper. What do you think are some of the key challenges facing these stakeholders today? You see what you did? You went and you painted the context, made the other person talk a lot. No, the first question was short. Who are the main stakeholders of this position? This is almost, remember we said closed-ended questions. It's short, but now it's open-ended. What? This starts with the what. So it's an open-ended question, and let them talk, let them swim, and you look into their eyes and you listen. You listen, maybe you're taking notes, no problem, but listen. And maybe if you need to, then you follow up. If you don't need to follow up, move on. If you agree, great. If you don't agree, tell me why you don't agree. Not my job to convince you, but do what feels right to you. Okay, all good? Is everything fine? Time flies, my God, it's 42 minutes past it. Perfect. Research is absolutely key, Asha. It goes without saying. Homework. It goes a really long way. Some people say 24 hours, 48 hours. I think you take as long as you take. I can even do great research in a couple of hours, provided you're smart about it. Then the fifth one, not everybody asks here. Some people are scared. How would you determine my performance at the end? Hold on. You want to say my performance. You don't want to say, how would you determine the performance of this position holder, of the person? No. Play this Jedi mind trick, guys. Star Wars. Anybody Star Wars fan here? You wanna, I say this to all my clients, by the way. You want to apply some Jedi mind tricks on them. What does that mean? You want them to already imagine that you're doing the job. I'm imagining your lightsaber. That's what you want. You want them to imagine that. So how would you determine my performance at the end of 3 months? The first 100 days, 9 months, 90 days, 3 months. And then at the end of 12 months, which means, another way to paraphrase this would be, how would you determine if this, if my performance is meeting expectations, exceeding expectations, below expectations? Yeah, because this is telling you on how they measure performance, and that tells you something. You're going to get more from this answer than you would get from any other question which is related to culture, because here they are telling you what they value in people and their performance. Make sense? Yes, Star Wars. Massive fan. Next one. What, according to you, are some of the low-hanging fruit? Some people don't like the phrase low-hanging fruit. Then you can say quick wins. What are some of the quick wins, according to you, to pick in the first 90 days? Because essentially, I'm not saying you, by the way, you're not asking all 10. Cherry pick the ones that you like and go with them. See, because this is very closely related to the first 90 days. Because this helps you to answer this. If you get the answer to the quick wins, then you know how performance is measured, you see? So that will also tell you the kind of mess, okay? People, don't forget that you're putting up your best side in front of the company, but so is the company. The company is also doing this seductive little dance and getting you on board and doing what it takes. It always happens, guys. You all worked before. It always looks rosy on the outside, and then you join the organization and then you see a real crap storm. It always is. Every company has it. But they don't always show you the crap storm. Some do, some don't. Most don't. Which is why the quick wins will tell you if those things are even achievable or not, you know. So yeah, I do think, Kiasha, that it shows confidence. I like it. So low-hanging fruit. This is all related to the position. Yeah, these are all P's. In the CPR approach, company, position, recruiter, these are all related to the P. Now, let's come to the recruiter or the interviewer, whoever this person is who's on the other side. Again, check your personality, check if you're comfortable asking, but I like asking these questions. Ask them. Like, remember we said, drive the focus away. Ask them, what are 2 things you like working? What are 2 things you like about working here? And don't just say, like, you know, what do you like about working here? But make it specific. What are 2 things you like about working here? Remember we said this is your time. You're in charge. Enjoy yourself. Be specific. It's your time. Okay? What are 2 things you like about working here? And then the next one is a little, some people will say it's a bit risky. So it again goes to your personality. One, I think it depends on your personality. The second, I think it depends on is how well you think the interview is going. Books, I think you said it already. Read the room. See the chemistry on the other side. Are they responding? Are they smiling? What are their non-verbal cues? You know, their body language, etc. Read. That's why we say it a lot. Read the room. So accordingly, you can ask this question. Remember, we said earlier 2 things you like about working here. Number 8. What are 2 things you like less about working here? It's a risky question. When I say risky, it's not for everyone. I like this question because as a candidate, I asked this question twice in so many years of interviewing because I've been a job seeker as well. And on those 2 occasions, I got such interesting answers. Oh, wow. One of them dished out so much gossip in the company. And I was like, ooh, this person can't be trusted. Like, I like the job, but this person can't be trusted. My red flag went up already. You know, they're showing you frustration. I don't think they're going to last. But it tells you, you want them to speak, speak, speak. That's what you want. You're like this detective. Do the minimum talking and get them to talk. Even if they make a fool of themselves, that's fine. I remember this one time where a person said so much and later she regretted it and she said, would you mind keeping it to yourself? I was like, yeah, of course. And of course I kept it to myself, but she told me a secret and we're complete strangers. So do you see that bond that was established? And obviously I got that job. The bond that was established, when somebody tells you a secret, they are indebted to you. Like they're in debt. So you never know what will come out of this question. So I really think it's worth taking a chance. Yeah, that's great. Nah, it's never too late, Manmeet. You can still ask, you know, never know. Keep your options open. Then the next one, number 9, related to the recruiter. Somebody said this, Ingrid, I would love to hear about your leadership style. In you know, because I see that so Ingrid, you can ask it like this when you said it, and I said I'll paraphrase it. You can ask it like this. You can also by keeping it short, not going into a long thing, but you can also say that, you know, I see that there is a team of 10 people. How do you like to lead? Open-ended. Remember we said open, so how, what, where. So ask how do you like to lead? What's your management style like? What's your leadership style? How do you like to lead people? Let them answer it. If they have a clarifying question, they'll ask you, but you are very clear because you are going to now understand, particularly if this person is going to be your boss. I would love to know this. So ask this question and rather than ask, can you tell me something about the culture of this company? It's very broad. It's boring. Everyone asks that. This is a little different. So This will also tell you very interesting things about the culture of the company. So take advantage of that. And finally, the last one, when everything is over, and I think Maruti, I don't remember, somebody said it, you want closure. You don't want to leave things hanging. And I think, Lee, you talked about it at some point or the other, and I'll come to that. So rather than say, okay, that's it. That's all you need. No, make it specific. So is there anything else you need from me to make your decision? Remember those Jedi mind tricks. Is there anyone else you'd like me to meet? Or have I been able to answer all your questions and concerns? There's a reason it's closed-ended. The answer is yes or no. Or is there anyone else? Yes or no. Is there anyone else to meet? Yes or no. Have I been able? You're expressing ability here? No problem. Do it. Because at the end of the day, that's a test of your ability. This is a great way to end the interview. Okay. And a final one, a bonus one. And somebody said this. Her name is Marty. She said it on my LinkedIn post 2 days ago. For example, let's say you're interviewing for a role of a CMO, right? Chief Marketing Officer, hypothetically speaking. And let's say you meet the CEO. Ask them. So how do you define marketing? What does marketing mean to you? Let's say you're in a strategy-based role and you're meeting the CEO or somebody senior. What does strategy mean to you? And I liked her answer to that. She said that the fact that you're asking this question, and if a CEO cannot tell you what marketing means to them, that's a serious concern. But it also makes them think like, that's a really good question. That's the response you want. You want them to think like that. And then you want them to be like, they're so deep in thinking. And by the way, that's one of the reasons I said it. Why do we want the other person to speak so much? And Kiasha, 80-20, 20-80, I think, like I said, 50-50 is what I would personally like to strive towards. When you talk a lot in a meeting, you share a lot, you're in your sweet spot, you're in your zone, you're not going to remember why. You're not going to remember what you didn't like about the other person. It's a fact. Think about it. I'm not even going to tell you about interviews because I know this to be true. It goes without saying, where I met someone and they were busy telling me about the position. They were busy talking about themselves. They can't think of any reason why I'm not fit for the job. They can't, because their brain's too full with themselves. Even exploratory interviews, or these days I'm having virtual teas and coffees with many people on LinkedIn. I do about 2-3 a week. And by the way, I highly suggest you do the same. Open up your calendar, whether you're looking for a job or not. Open up your calendar, look for interesting people, reach out to them, engage with their content, and have some stuff in your calendar. And every time I've had a really great meeting and they say, this was a really great meeting, when can I see you again? Every single time that's happened, I realized I asked a lot of questions. They were answering a lot. And when the time came for them to ask me, they were like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've been talking about myself so much. You see, they're expressing guilt. That's nice. They're indebted to you. It's nice. But it's the end. Like an hour flew by and I'm like, yeah, don't worry. We'll talk about me next time. Oh yeah, when can we get that in the calendar? I'm like, yeah, don't worry. We'll do it. But it's nice. It's nice because some of the best meetings I've had have been like this, just listening. And I have made a lot of mistakes. Why? Because I talk a lot. I'm very extroverted. I talk a lot. So this has taken a lot of practice to just shut up, ask short, brief questions, and then keep quiet and listen, and then follow up, and then follow up. But that's it. You learn a lot, and particularly in the coaching world, it comes in very handy. I hope this is helpful. These are 11 questions that I have that I've shared with you. Perfect. Just checking. Weapon questions. I like that. Perfect. Please repeat. Repeat what exactly? Ask the hiring manager what their most significant. Lee, you're taking this to a whole new fantastic level. Like, these are the questions they ask a job candidate. Instead, you turn it around and say, what has, according to them, been their most significant accomplishment over the past year? Why not? Why not? Sometimes you can even ask, if, yeah, This is a tricky one, Kiasha. I'm personally not a fan of this one. This is the kind of thing that these kind of books talk about, and there are some of these are written like 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. The reason I don't like it is if I have an issue or a concern, I may not share with you. Some people need to sleep on it. Second, they have to talk. A lot of companies are consensus driven. So before they talk to you, they first want to speak within their team. Do you know what I mean? A lot of coaches and books have said, be bold and go out there and ask them because you can address it. If it works for you, great. I don't necessarily see this working for me per se, both as a candidate and both as a recruiter. Don't worry, you can always rewatch. You're very welcome. Perfect. The replay is there for life, right? So if somebody's taking notes, don't panic. You can watch it at any point of time. Not a problem. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. So if the interviewer would tell me the truth, though, yeah, have I been able to answer all your questions or concerns? If you say it like questions or concerns, Ingrid, this is exactly the thing that you're saying that I just said to Kiasha. So I know what you mean. But if you say, have I been able to answer all your questions or concerns? If you frame it like that, it's a little bit different. Sometimes a little tweak can go a very long way. Perfect. So guys, I'm done. What I want to do is now, I'm just going to do a quick recap. I'll do the recap later. But I'd like to know, is there anybody who's interested in coming on a live stream with me? We have 4 minutes. Ooh, that's not a lot of time, but I can go a little bit over. If someone is actively job hunting, or if you have any questions that you're bothering you about the interview process, it doesn't have to be only that you have to ask me a question. But if there's something that's really bothering you about the interview process, you're actively job hunting, Dice, I think you're one of them. But if anybody wants to come live with me right now, please put it in the comments right now. I'm going to give you the link. You just need to ensure you have a decent audio. Your audio is very important. I don't really care how you look. Nobody's judging you. This is not a modeling show. Thanks for coming, Lee. Have a great day. So I said this in the beginning. I don't know if anyone is still interested. If you are, I'm waiting. Tell me in the comments. If you're not, no problem. I shall go away and disconnect because I've got things to do. You've got things to do. We're all busy. So I'm just going to check if I missed anything. It's a little quiet. What's going on? So the ones who, in the beginning, there were 2-3 people who said they were interested and then you guys disappeared. So that's fine. No problem at all. Excellent. Perfect. So a quick recap. I don't like to just disappear. A quick recap. This is what we said we would do in the beginning. I wanted you to think about what are the main principles of asking great questions? What are some of the common pitfalls people go through? And 10 great questions. And the principles, a quick recap. We talked about why we ask great questions. What is the reason behind that? And then we had the BOTE approach, which is first go broad, then go deep, then open-ended versus closed-ended. Then remember the tennis match analogy, and also ask questions that the other person would enjoy answering. So the Dale Carnegie principle. And the classic pitfalls that many people are doing, which you have to be careful of, is do not ask premature questions. Not asking questions is not an option. Please don't do that. You waste opportunity. It's almost like you're leaving money on the table. Avoid questions that stick to a script. Avoid questions that can easily be Googled. Ask a question and then forget about it and move to the next question, which means wait, respond, understand, and then answer. And then wait. Yeah, wait for them to answer. Long-winded, get to the point quickly. Do not waste your time. And then we went through 10 questions with the CPR approach. Okay, perfect. I'm just going to check that I missed anything. Okay. Prashant, if you'd like to come. Yeah. Before, one second, just a second. I think there's a question. How do we answer a tech competency question if I'm not prepared for that or not hands-on? You can always be honest, Somya. I'm always honest because I think that we sound a little, I mean, we don't want to, BS, complete bull crap. The other person will smell it. So if you don't know something, say, I'm sorry, I don't know that, but I can find out. And yeah, I can learn that. That's something I don't always, you don't want to come across that person who always knows all the answers, but you know how to find the answer. So I would say honesty is always the best policy. Yeah, maybe you should highly connect with each other. I highly recommend that you connect with each other within LinkedIn. It's a lovely, supportive community. And if you have a very specific question, Prashant, I think that's what you said. Okay. If you have a very specific question, then I'm going to send you request, and then you can come to the live stream. Guys, you must applaud Prashant because he wants to come on the live stream. It takes a lot of courage to say that, okay, Prashant, check your LinkedIn messages. I've sent you the connection to the live stream. In case you guys are still around, hopefully you've not gone. Hopefully you're not gone. Okay. Prashant, check your messages. I've sent you the link. Yeah. I don't know, but I can find out. Always, and it's lovely that somebody wants to help. Melissa, you said you were interested as well. I don't know if you're still around, but Prashant, if you're around, click that link and come quickly online because I need to go. If you have a specific question, I'd love to have you on board. We're going to have a couple of minutes together. So I'm that person right now who's like, okay, let's go quickly. You're most welcome, Manmeet. So I'm just going to give it a few seconds for Prashant to come online, if he's able to. It's a bit quiet. I know there's a delay. Not sure what's going on. I don't think he's seen it. And it's past the hour. So maybe I'll give him a few more seconds. It's completely impromptu. It wasn't intended, but if he wants to, then why not? But it's been more than 2 minutes or so since I sent the link. And if you haven't got it, Prashant, in your messages, then no worries. All right, perfect. So thank you guys. Thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful. Give this live stream. You're trying. Oh, okay. Give this live stream lots of thumbs ups, lots of hearts, lots of little, all this helps to boost the algorithm and show it to more people. And yeah, I mean, if this is helpful and if you've been following me for a while, I would love a testimonial on LinkedIn. It also helps to be seen by more people. Would highly appreciate it. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Yes, Prashant, it's basically, you just have to click the link and then you have to ensure that your camera is connected to the settings. It takes a few seconds, no more. Perfect. I don't know if I'm an expert, but I do think about this a lot. I don't like the word expert, but you're very welcome, Eric. I'm guessing we're all waiting, Prashant. But it's taking a while. It's actually not that complicated. If you just click, I'll give you maybe 30 more seconds and then we should go. And then if you still have a question, you can always send it to me on message. I wonder if we could bet on this. What do you think? Should we bet? Do you think he'll come? Ilmi, why does it always say, it's possible, Ilmi, that you're not logged in? Is that possible? That doesn't make any sense. Ilmi, Melissa, it's something you should write to LinkedIn about. Why do you guys always appear as LinkedIn user? It's very irritating. So yeah, you're welcome, Rajiv. Lovely to see you. It's not allowing you. That's weird. No worries. Prashant, you can always send that question to me over on Messenger. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for being with us today. Wish you a lovely weekend ahead and take care. Wear your mask. I don't care what people say. This thing is not over. Be safe. Bye for now.